Hi, I'm Julie. Actually, I was going to start by just quickly showing a picture of my dad because I realised I didn't do that at the last session, and you might actually wonder. So if you can see, hopefully you can, this is my dad and my mum and my niece. This was New Year's Day, maybe I reckon about 8 years ago. So yeah, just a nice thing to start off with. So yeah, hi, I'm Julie. For those of you that don't know me, I was just going to start by doing a super quick recap on my sort of story and my involvement, and it is super quick. It's like 3 years condensed into like 3 minutes. In 2015, my dad and unfortunately my uncle were both diagnosed with mesothelioma, and they both died 8 months later. And when I was thinking about what to say, I was remembering that what really characterised that period in my life was this line, and it was, "Mr. Roberts, you have mesothelioma, go home and die." And that sounds crude, but that is exactly the message that I heard, and that stayed with me. It stayed with me since the day he was diagnosed. There was nothing, there was no lifeline thrown to us. The information that we were given was so sporadic and so disorganized, and nobody was really sure. It was like, oh, I think you need to go here for information, or so-and-so's doing some work on that. It was just, and it ate into all of our time that we had left with Dad, and it just made an awful situation 100 times worse. And at the same time, and forgive me for saying this because this is going to sound crude also, but I had a friend whose mum had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and they could not throw enough stuff at her. It was try this trial, go to this place. There was a clear path between A, B, and C. And I was just like, what has happened in our system that my dad has been shown a red light? And this lady, who is lovely, has a green light. It just did not sit well with me, and I just didn't understand what had gone wrong, that somebody had been allowed to kind of make a decision to say that my dad's life didn't count and somebody else's did. So after Dad passed away, and once the fog had kind of cleared, I decided to kind of look into it in a little bit more detail. And actually, when I did, I was right. It wasn't fair. And where I started was the Scottish Government's cancer strategy, and they claimed to have covered all 200 known cancers at the time. This was a few years ago. Or they had covered all 200 known cancers in Scotland, and yet there was not one single mention of mesothelioma. And again, I found that really odd because I knew we had the highest rate of it in the world, not just in the UK. But so it just did not make sense. And then I saw an opportunity through Hibernian Football Club to raise awareness of mesothelioma, and that's all I really wanted to do, was just to raise awareness of it, to help other people get to a GP faster so as they could have more time. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. It went from this video with Hibs to this 2.5-year lobby campaign, and I was really lucky to have the support of Kezia Dugdale. She was at the time the leader of the Scottish Labour Party. She really threw the light on it, and we got some lovely press coverage. And that's how I kind of have ended up in this little mix here. And that's really all I wanted to say. Collectively, the work that is happening now is going to reverse that message. So the message again that I heard was, Mr. Roberts, you have mesothelioma, go home and die. You are reversing that message to say, Mr. Roberts, you have mesothelioma, but this is what we're going to do to make sure that you survive for as long as you can, and if possible, never die. And no government should get to decide who lives and who dies. We're all important, and we all deserve to live a long and full life. So I really hope in the not too distant future that Kevin or Anna is going to get in touch, and they're going to say, Julie, the network's happening, but you're not speaking. Actually, we're going to get Mr. Roberts to speak. Mr. Roberts was diagnosed with mesothelioma 3 years ago. He started off in the network. He's going to tell his story about how he kind of progressed through it and how he's still with us today. And last week, he's going to end by telling us that last week he gave his daughter away at her wedding. And that's why the work that you are doing matters more than you will ever know. So it's so amazing to see everything that's happening, and I'm so excited to listen to all the speakers today. So I know a lot of you will put your coats on and go to work every day and think, I'm just going to do my job, but believe me when I tell you that what you're doing is more than just a job. So thank you so much, and it's great to be involved.